Archie Sonic, often considered to be one of, if not the most powerful version of Sonic. Anyone with any experience in power scaling or debating the subject in a who would win scenario has probably heard things like Archie Sonic is multiversal, he has immeasurable speed, he's a reality warper, among a lot of other claims that make it sound like he'd be a pain to have to debate against. I've heard such claims myself for years, and some scans have been shown to me, but I've never actually read the comics for myself, until I decided for the purposes of this channel, and from suggestions from the viewers, just like you, that I would do so in order to make this video. So before you comment down below, know that this is made by someone who has read almost 500 Sonic or Sonic related comics. In this video, I will mainly be talking about the pre-Genesis Wave version of Sonic, well, pre-Super Genesis Wave that is. But one of his more infamous feats comes from the post-Genesis continuity, so I'll be talking about that era as well. This video will also not be limited to Sonic, though I will try to focus on him. I'll be talking about the top tier characters in the verse, just so all the reading wasn't pointless. As always, I'll be providing scans along with issue numbers when the feats appear. Know that I am without a doubt one of the people who can speak most authoritatively on the subject. While I have not had a ton of time to debate it, I have had a lot of time to read it. So please sub to the channel if you enjoy analytical, objective breakdowns. That being said, let's just get down to it. Archie Sonic is without a doubt one of the strongest versions of the character. In his base form, Sonic is easily able to travel faster than the speed of light, stating himself that he can go 2 times that speed. He even has an attosecond feat, which is the time it takes light to move between molecules, as well as being able to travel to every planet in the universe, even the ones we don't know about, in the time it takes you to read that paragraph, which has been calculated to be an insane feat. Meanwhile, in terms of physical stats, he was able to throw hands with Axis, who created an entire zone. This is all just base Sonic. Super Sonic is a 1,000 times multiplier, with it also giving him invulnerability and the power to fly. He and Knuckles charged at each other with incalculable speed and destroyed an entire zone, which is the same as a universe. He was later able to fight Mammoth Mogul, who could crush entire universes in his bare hands, as well as Enerjack, who has the power that is only limited to his imagination. He's easily multiversal plus with immeasurable speed. Now that's what most YouTube videos would tell you, and what Archie Sonic fanboys would probably want you to believe. But if you've actually read his comics, if you suffered as I have, you realize these stats are absolutely insane, at least in the way they're usually presented. And they're just from fanboys or people who haven't actually read the source material and spread this wing perpetually. I'm here to break it down and give you the truth. I'll be going over 3 different classes of character. The first will be the base tier, where characters like Sonic and Knuckles will go. The second will be the super tier, for super characters. And finally, there will be the beyond super tier, for the legit high tier multiversal characters. Before we begin, I'm going to define some terms that will be important. Zones are a big one. Zones in Sonic refer to geographical locations. Action zones, which are pocket dimensions, and zones, which are universes. Zone is a word for all of these in the Archie Sonic universe, so I will specify which I am talking about when I get into the feats, which a lot of people don't do. Also note that Mobus is just Earth in the future, so when I talk about it, know that it has similar properties to Earth, as in size, gravity, etc. So I'll start quickly by discussing who will and will not be included in this list. And those who will not be included, those who are so weak that they aren't worth mentioning. This means the Freedom Fighters, Sonic's friends who kept the peace on Mobus against the evils of Dr. Eggman and his badniks. They're all relative in that they're inferior to Sonic, so to keep this list nice and short, I'm not going to include them, as this list will only include people who could take Sonic in a 1v1 fight. I will briefly mention Omega, who is a defected robot of Eggman, and one of the most powerful ones to boot, was supposedly able to damage Feist. And I've seen this on the Versus Battle Wiki, but I'm going to have to hard disagree, because Feist wasn't harmed, he was just annoyed. And this is the only reason I'm going to mention Omega, because other than that, he's below base Sonic, and not worth including. Now, onto the actual list. At the very bottom, I'm going to have to put Tail. Now, Tails doesn't have a lot of notable physical feats. He can keep pace with Sonic, but other than that, he's not as strong, and would easily be destroyed in Sonic in a 1v1 fight. Ahead of him, we have Knuckles. Now, Knuckles in base is pretty formidable. He's able to destroy Eggman's badniks with ease, react to and trade blows at Sonic, though Knuckles has been stated to be able to tie with Sonic, and has even had a brief match against Shadow where he did pretty well. He's more likely to lose than he is to win, so I have to put him below the base Hedgehogs. Though he is the Guardian of the Master Emerald, and he can tap into his power more easily than other characters, so his Chaos powers do give him a good bit of hacks. Beyond them, I'm going to have Silver the Hedgehog, who has shown that he can keep up with and restrain Sonic. He is briefly able to restrain Super Scourge, but he is ultimately inferior to them. And while he was able to fight Dark Enerjack, this is an Enerjack who was holding back in order to enjoy himself, and Silver only hurt him by redirecting his Chaos Energy back at him. On top of this, Silver's telekinesis can lift and throw buildings, which is pretty impressive, as well as make him durable enough to survive being hit with Angel Island itself. Though this may be an outlier, and the island wasn't actually destroyed, so you can decide how you want to quantify that. Next, even though this base spot is tied essentially the entire way, we have a more direct three-way tie here, which is Scourge, Sonic, and Shadow. The three characters can all travel at supersonic speeds, react to and fight one another. They're pretty much even, which means this is as good a place as any to talk about Sonic specifically. And I will go over a lot of feats that I feel are a bit overrated. Like I said at the start of the video, the Lightspeed feats, they're not very plentiful. A lot of them come from issues 1 to 35, however, these are inconsistent with the other 200 issues of the series. One of the primary writers for the latter years of Sonic, Ian, actually addressed this in a Q&A, stating that the feats of things like Sonic circling the planet without aid do not line up with his Sonic. And this is 100% true if you've actually read those comics. Sonic doesn't have the speed to go as fast as light, let alone millions of times faster, as many people will claim. Take, for instance, Sonic needing 30 minutes to go up a mountain. Him needing 30 minutes to get anywhere is already a red flag, because keep in mind, like I said earlier, Mobius is just Earth. So him needing time to get anywhere puts him well below light, considering light can circle the planet 7 times in a single second. And this isn't even the only time he has that kind of issue. He also couldn't save 3 of his friends because they're too spread out along the planet. It would take him multiple days to search the planet when he couldn't find his friends. Him needing 10 minutes to cross a distance at top speed. He couldn't cross a 100-mile radius in 3.5 seconds. When he broke his limits against Eggman, he was praised for reaching the end of a continent while Eggman and his nephew talked. And saying it's a continent might even be highballing a little bit. He isn't faster than light consistently. And by consistently, I mean after the first 35 issues, he has no feats above supersonic, aside from in his higher forms. This isn't to deny that he has lightspeed feats. They happen, but it's not enough for them to just occur. They have to be consistent. Many people will say that Ian's word isn't enough, and I agree. But even Ken Penders, who wrote Sonic to be very fast, restricted his speed. So to me, it seems more like the comics just soft retcon the speed scaling. For more perspective on this, I counted Sonic's speed feats that are either stated on panel or can be calced with minimal effort. In base, he has 25 feats that are super to hypersonic, 13 of which he states that is the limit of his speed, while he only has 4 faster than light feats, which I will go over now. When he boxes his Shadow, he says that he can do it because he's faster than light. I'd also keep in mind that this feat is from those first 35 that I mentioned. This is also a time where Sonic could break the 4th wall, Eggman could fly into space while being a normal human without dying. I'm with Ian while saying that these should not normally be included, because the comic book series clearly gets a lot more serious later on. And for that reason, you should really aggregate previous feats, which is to discount them. The next one is that he has a statement that he can go 2 times light speed. This is the same issue with the attosecond feat that I mentioned earlier, which is a big discrepancy in just that issue alone. The attosecond feat would be billions of times faster than light. So Sonic is really lowballing himself if he's telling Eggman he's only 2 times faster. Finally, the writer's statement that Sonic can travel to every planet in the universe any time it takes you to read this paragraph, which has been calced to be, I believe, like octacillion times faster than light, something like 300 times, I think. 25 feats versus 4. And these 4 are not compatible with themselves in regards to the planet statement. Another writer said that Sonic's max speed was 2 times the speed of sound. So whose word do we take over the other? We look at what occurs most often, and Sonic is clearly defined to be under light speed in terms of limitations under multiple writers. While on the subject, I also think I need to address the Cosmic Interstate feat. Now, this is where Sonic collects versions of himself from across the multiverse to fight Eggman. This feat has some calcs, but I just want to talk about the info and how it contradicts itself. The story is called 1000 Sonic. According to Sonic, the event involved every Sonic, except for Scourge, Sonic from Sonic Underground, and Sonic himself. Sonic also claims that precise multiverse travel is impossible, and that Sonic only did it with the help of him and his portal. So is this a speed feat at all? Did Sonic just place the portals conveniently? Looking at the interstate itself doesn't help very much. Apparently, it has a 148,000 light year stop distance with a speed limit of 74,564 light years per hour. At the same time, Sonic made several hundred trips to collect everyone. None of this information is compatible. If Sonic was helping, then this isn't much of a feat. Sonic couldn't have visited infinite realities if he only took several hundred trips. Not to mention, he missed at least 3 realities, and potentially could have missed more. Even if you want to scale this feat, it either becomes another light speed outlier, or it becomes the lone infinite speed feat for base Sonic. Either way, it's not in line with the totality of his run. Now, before I focus on Scourge and Shadow, there's a few more myths I need to debunk about Sonic's base. So, some people claim that Sonic can survive existence erasure, even though he never does. For example, they say he survived the Ultimate Annihilator, which is true, but they leave out that everyone survived it. The device was originally going to erase Nuthole Village, but was changed to only affect Dr. Robotnik. Everyone else only temporarily blinked out of existence, including Sonic. His feat of destroying a black hole is wanked. All Sonic did was destroy the device before it could finish creating the black hole. They specifically state that he needs to destroy its gears before the black hole can be created. So this isn't a solar system level feat, because he stopped the solar system level black hole from being formed to begin with. I would also question the validity of Sonic being blasted to another planet as a durability feat, because it's so far outside of Sonic's norm, as he could be harmed by other Mobians, falling from great heights, building level attacks, as I'll get into later. Not only that, but the surface of the planet isn't even damaged by him landing on it. If he truly was propelled at such speed, there'd at least be a minor crater, but there's nothing like that. It's most likely that the dial was affecting space-time, that it created a wormhole, and that's how Sonic ended up on another planet. At best, this feat would also just be an outlier. To further expand on this point, Eggman created a suit of armor designed to counter Sonic, and it did. Sonic had no chance of beating it. However, the other Mobians were able to beat it because it didn't counter their abilities, even though in terms of raw AP, they're relative to Sonic. What gives Sonic the edge over them is his speed. Without his spin dash, any single one of them would be able to take him out. But getting back to resisting existence erasure, it had nothing to do with him or his 1 billionth ring, which does carry his aura and essence, that is correct, but it was only able to reverse his mechanization because Nicole supercharged the ring. So this is not something Sonic could do mid-combat. So him coming back from things, or people saying that like he won't be affected by something because of his 1 billionth ring, not true. On top of that, people also wank the uses for power rings. While it's true that they can amplify stats and restore stats if he has enough, he doesn't carry any on him. He often has to go and retrieve them because he doesn't have any on hand. Even the 1 billionth ring he keeps framed in his house. He does have resistance to dark magic though. A magical hex that worked on Knuckles had no effect on Sonic. Now this is possibly due to his aura, which can also be somewhat pacified in order to change the feelings of his enemies. Though there's one more thing about base Sonic we need to debunk, which is his fate manipulation. Now people often use statements from Dr. Eggman describing Sonic as an embodiment of the chaos factor. Eggman is just using this as an excuse for why he always loses, as he had to come up with some reason why he's always losing to a 16-year-old blue hedgehog. The chaos factor is not exclusive to Sonic, as Eggman himself even thought when he was winning that the chaos factor was in his favor. I do not understand where people get the idea that he can control fate from this scan. I will go over a statement from Mammoth Mogul later, so please bear with me on that. The characters I just talked about, and the characters I'm going to talk about, are more or less building level. Sonic is consistently threatened by falling buildings, falling meteors, nukes would do him in, and this applies to everyone in his tier. I can't find one legitimate universal feat for base Sonic. I will, however, discuss some hacks right now that I think Sonic does have, since I just spent a lot of time in debunking Wank hacks. He can manipulate his molecules to phase through objects, though in later issues he seems to need a lot of concentration to do it. And when he's captured, he doesn't ever pull it off, so I think that while he can do it, he can't do it on the level of, say, Superman or the Flash, where he can do it casually. He also has techniques for boosting his damage, like the triple spin or the figure 8. His durability is heightened due to years of taking in rings, so you could easily argue he's the most durable base Mobian. And all that said, we could finally discuss Shadow, who is often portrayed as above Sonic or rivaling him. Shadow also has chaos control, which in the comics he really only ever uses to teleport. He can manipulate sources of chaos energy, like Metal Sonic's Zone Transporter. His true power, though, lies in how he can use the Chaos Force when he removes his inhibitors, which, when he was fighting Interjack, gave him brief pause and nearly destroyed a city. Meanwhile, Scourge has always been equal to Sonic and received additional Chaos Energy from the Master Emerald, which is why he's green and no longer blue. He was able to briefly fight Sonic and Shadow at the same time, but he literally only countered them with a single attack. And then a couple of issues later, he and Sonic were evenly matched. So like I said, you can really go back and forth about everyone in this tier, but especially among these three. And with that, we've reached a good stopping point for part 1. That is correct. I'm going to be splitting this video into 2 parts now. This first part covering the base forms of the characters, and the second part covering the characters above base form, like Mecha forms, and the wizards, as well as the super forms. So if you want to check out that video, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can catch it later. If you have anything you'd like to discuss or any disagreements, please hit me in the comment section down below. But know that after my reading this, the conclusion I came to, I know it's contrary to the common meta right now of universal and base and immeasurable, but after having read the comics for myself, I cannot agree with that. Feel free to share it around to counter all the base Sonic wink, and please look forward to part 2 because I am very excited to dive into the feats of Super Sonic and determine if he lives up to the hype, because base Archie Sonic does not. This has been Tafflin Waitlist for Dual Channel, reminding you to do your own research. You guys have a great rest of your day, and since I have you, you've probably already seen it, but you might as well check out the Flash versus Archie Sonic death battle. I just think it's a hilarious coincidence that they ended up doing that matchup around the same time I was working on this video.